Hey there, okay. Alright, so we've just covered a whole bunch of videos in regards to the bullish formations that are found within the Forex markets. Now, there are many more bullish formations out there, and I needed to draw a line somewhere. Alright, so what I've basically done for the most part is picked out the ones that you should really be using in your studies. Some of the others, you're not going to notice that often because they don't really occur that often and what have you. Alright, so maybe it would be best if you go through all of these videos at least sort of like 3 times and study the formations. You could probably study more than one formation at a time. You will find that when you're going into live trading, with your demo account or your live account or what have you, you're gonna start seeing patterns emerge, but the pattern that you might be concentrating on might not always turn up. So you might need to, stuff a few of those formations into your mind so you can recognize them as they turn up. So if you can like remember all of them over a period of like a week, then you should be okay. Now, for some of us, might not be able to remember them all within a week, but if you can backtest through the charts and see if you can actually pick out a formation and then making sure that that formation is correct, okay, and once you've got that correct, obviously move on to the next one until you can start remembering at least the most common ones. Alright, and then we'll move into the bearish formations, and hopefully these bearish formations won't really take that long to remember because you remember them by their first original name from the bullish formations that we showed you earlier on. There are some names that are different. I mean, like you have the bullish abandoned baby, and now we're going to be working on the bearish abandoned baby. But there are other formations like the bullish Pearson line. You would think that there would be one called the bearish Pearson line, but it's actually the neighboring pair formation is the bearish dark cloud cover. Alright, so we have quite a few of these bearish formations to go over. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so our first bearish formation is going to be the bearish abandoned baby. Alright, and as you may recall from one of our first videos, alright, these will actually happen at the top of trends. Alright, so you're coming in from an uptrend, okay, and then you're looking for the abandoned baby to have its bull bar around about here. Alright, and then like a doji right there, and then you'll have your bear bar like so. Alright, and then your confirmation bar on the next bar, and then it should come back down. Okay, if it fails, then it's going to most likely obviously go back up. Now let's see if we can find some abandoned baby examples for you on the charts as well. But you also might know, I mean, I actually mentioned this before as well in one of the other videos, that sometimes what you will see is that when you see abandoned baby, it's like it has like this huge gap up. Sometimes you see like this huge gap up like this. Mostly you'll see this in equities and on the equity charts, because a lot of the charts online that you see are equity charts and not actual Forex charts. Okay, so the formations are going to look different, so you're going to be looking at the Forex charts and looking for a formation that looks like this without the star in there, and you're going to go, oh, this doesn't turn up very often. But it's true that the abandoned baby doesn't turn up that often, but with the Forex markets it's kind of a little different. This formation that we have here looks like the evening doji star, but it also has the same kind of formation as the abandoned baby as well. Alright, but for the most part that we should be okay. So let's go ahead and see if we can try and find some abandoned babies. Alright, let me just pause for a moment, see if I can find some. Alright, well, I can't really find any good examples for you. There are a couple of areas here that look similar, but they're not perfect. The Okay, I mean the way that we showed you before, I mean this one actually looked like the the doji morning star where you have the cross in the middle, and with the abandoned baby, it's supposed to basically detach itself, as I mentioned before. All right, there's your main candle, and then you have like another one that's like basically really detached itself from the rest of the formation. And it's supposed to be sort of like here, and then have another bar to the side. That's how it's supposed to look. All right, but you can't really find these formations on the chart, on the forex charts. On the equity charts, you should be okay. But the formations that they're asking you to look out for, in textbooks really, are that kind of formation. But they do tend to look like, as I say, the morning stars. But I'm just trying to see if I can find a couple of areas in the market that would look similar to what we're supposed to be looking out for. Um, Ideally, to really make it work, is that you need to see like the third candle drop below, or actually start creating a new candle below its new low. A little bit similar to this one actually, but this is not a really good example because the candles aren't all that big. Alright, there's a big long candle in there, then you have this little black candle there, and then you have this smaller one to the right hand side. That's the kind of formation that you're looking for in regards to the abandoned baby. Alright, it's not like, for instance, like where you have a candle here and then have like another candle like so. Okay, where all of their highs are basically are kind of like the same. We don't want it like that. Okay, what we got to try and make sure that the pattern looks like this. Alright, it can be any color. This one can be red or blue, doesn't really matter, or white or black, depending on what your chart looks like. Okay, but what is important is that this next candle does come under the second one. Okay, or fills the gap or whatever, but it needs to come under. It can't come in at the top, or come in a little bit at the top and come down at the bottom like this. It needs to be under the second candle. Alright, so like this one, well, this one isn't perfect, but it's pretty close to the example that I'm trying to illustrate. You have a long candle here, then you have your bearish candle. But the thing is that this bearish candle here has a low that's sort of like tucking into around about the top 25% of that move here. You want this to be sitting at the close of the first candle. Alright, so let's see if we can keep on finding some more. Okay, well this is another example right here. But again, these are all small examples. I'm not really looking for these small examples. This one, the three inside down, obviously that's not because it's a three inside down, but we want this little middle candle to be above the blue one. Alright, where the real body is on it. Okay, you got to have a real knack, for picking out patterns. But after a while, of, trying to remember them, you should do okay. I mean, if you draw these out on calling cards, like maybe like little postcards, and like maybe chop a postcard up in 4/4 and start drawing the patterns down, and have like your partner or a friend, or even yourself put them face down, and then maybe give them a name on the other side of the card, and then you try to work out how to identify that pattern by drawing it on another piece of paper. And once you're finished drawing your formations out, you can turn them over and see if you got them right. I mean, it would be in your best interest really to take these patterns down and learn them as quick as you can. Alright, let's see if we can just briefly, just one more time, to see if we can find any more, find through this currency pair. Well, here's one that looks like a little bit the other way around, really. Right, looks like a bit of like a bullish one, but normally this should be like a cross here and then that candle there, but that's not going to work for our example here. This one's pretty close to the traditional abandoned baby setup. Here is your first candle, and then see how it gaps from here up to there. Well, that's what the formation looks like, and this candle here, or the top part of the real body, is supposed to be around about there. Alright, and then comes down to there, and that will be the formation being completed. Alright. But yeah, so here's another one. This would class as an abandoned baby as well, but again you'd need confirmations. Like this candle here would need to actually have a close lower than the low, and it doesn't actually do that, even though it does make a new lower low. See, this is where sometimes, you know, some people make the mistake, is that they think that when you're using candle patterns, although in some scenarios it does work, but it doesn't work all the time, and that's what you need. You need to find something that works all the time. Is that when these candle patterns come into effect, is that when you see like this confirmation, some people would mistake the low as being the confirmation. Okay, you really need to have the close break lower than the low. Again, it comes down, I mean, you'd have to use a little bit of initiative as well, you know, where this pattern is it in halfway in between a trend, you know, is it at the top of the trend or is it at the bottom of the trend? So all these little variables come into play. Alright, so we'll leave you with that video for the moment, okay, and we'll take you on to the next video, which will be the bearish dark cloud cover. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit. Bye for now.